Well, it's that dreaded time of year again. It's time to fill out our tax forms. Today, I want to come up with something that's going to help us do that a little bit easier. We're going to create a charity donation page and tax information page to kind of help us keep things organized. So, if that sounds interesting to you, stay with me. Well, hi everyone. This is Crystal from A Crystal Clear Life, where we focus on planning, organizing, and living a more simplified life. And today, like I said at the top of the show, we're going to be talking about taxes. Now, I don't know anybody really who loves to pay taxes, but we all know that it is, what do they call it, a necessary evil in order to get the services that we need, like our libraries and trash collection and that kind of thing. We all need to pay our taxes and pay our part for those kinds of things. So I really don't mind paying my taxes. I just am always looking for an easier way to help keep things organized so that when it comes time to filling out those tax forms, all the information is right there ready for me. Okay, so that's what I want to show you today. We're going to take a look at a form that I have created, but I've never shared with you guys before. I'm going to show you how to build it and show you how to use it. So if that sounds interesting, hit that like button, subscribe if you have not already. Turn your notifications all the way on. Please feel free to share this with anyone. And with all that out of the way, let's jump into that computer and see what we're talking about today. All right, well, we can see here on my computer that I am in my 2026 Life Planner, and I do have a section of my Life Planner for budget kinds of things, financial kind of things. You can name it whatever you want. I just happened to call it budget when I was creating it this year. And over here, we have done some things like creating a bill payment thing that we need to have. That's kind of interesting. We've done a financial snapshot page. That's kind of interesting as well. And if you'd like to see videos on those, I'll leave those linked up above. But today we are really going to look at creating a charitable donations or a donation page, and also on that page a place to list the tax payments that you've done so that you can deduct those if you need to do that and that kind of thing. Okay? All right, so for my budget stuff, I've been using a page template called Circles. So let's start by doing that. I'm going to go up here to my Insert menu, and I'm going to go all the way down to Page Templates. And when you look at Page Templates, I already have Circles listed here because I have used it recently. But if you're looking for all of the page templates, all the way at the bottom, all of the page templates are listed way over here on the far right-hand side. You have a place for page templates that you have created, so they would be here under My Templates. As you can see, I've created a lot of templates. There are academic ones, there are blank ones, there are business ones, there are decorative ones. Circles happens to be in the decorative one, okay? I have used Circles recently, so when I go up here to Insert and I go to Page Templates, Circles is right there. So let's use that one again. And it just puts those pretty circles on the side and moves our title of our page over just a little bit. Okay? All right. Now, I am going to call this Charity Donations and Tax Payments. Okay, and we're going to create actually two separate little forms on this one page to kind of keep track of everything in one place. Okay, all right, so as always, I love to create things in tables. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to insert. Let's go to our insert menu again, and table is right there. And we're going to do a 4 by however many it will let us, 7 or 8, table right there. And we are going to call this particular table charitable donations. Okay, so I like to put my title above the top of the table, but I like to still keep it in that same container. So I'm going to start here in my very first cell, and I'm going to hit the enter key. And when I do, that's going to drop the whole table down, but you're going to notice it still stays in that container. Okay, so now we have our space there that I can write charitable contributions. Okay. Uh, and um, here again, to format things, you can really choose any font that you want. You can do, any size, any of that kind of thing. I'm just going to make this one a little bit bigger, a little bit bolder, so that you can see what's going on there. Okay. All right. Now, the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to start here in my table, and I want to include the date that I made that charitable donation. And then I'm going to go to the next column, and I'm going to say to whom it was made. Okay, so to whom, you could put organization there, you could put, made out to, or, whatever you want to do. Okay, the next thing that I want to include here is the amount, and then I want to include a picture, place for notes, or pictures. Okay, and we'll talk about each one of these in just a minute. All right, now another thing that I always like to do is in my tables, I like to, kind of create a header row, put some color on it so I can see. So usually in the budget things that I do, I'm going to choose one of these colors. So let's go here and highlight that, and we will go up to our table menu and all the way down to shading. And I can take a look at all of these colors. I just kind of want something, bright and cheerful. So I think I'm going to use one of these pinks down here at the end, just to kind of, because when I give something away to someone, it makes me feel happy. So I want to choose a color that makes me feel happy as well. Okay. All right. Now, one of the things that you might do is, I'm just going to give some ideas for charitable donations here. Maybe if you're someone who attends a religious organization, you may make a contribution, an offering, a tithing to them each month or each week. I tend to do mine monthly, so I might come in here and do, January 15th of 2026, I gave to my church, and I gave, the amount of $300. And if I want to, this notes or pictures for me is something that I do where I can either take a picture of the check, or when I log into my bank, if I've written them a check, I can actually see the printed image of that check, and I can take a screen capture of that and put that in here as well so that I have that. Okay. Sometimes when you make a donation, like let's say you made a donation in February for Valentine's Day, and you made it to your local radio station, and you were donating for something, and they send you a little email or a note or something like that that says thank you for your donation. So let's say I made a $50 donation to them, and then they have sent me this email. Well, right here I can add the link to the email, that says thank you for your donation. So it's kind of a way to link your receipts, your actual receipts, into this one chart and kind of have them all in one place. Now, if you wanted to, you could make a copy of that letter and you could print it out down here on the page, or save it as a PDF and put the PDF in that particular, the little PDF button right there in that notes or pictures column. Okay, so I think that's pretty helpful as well. Okay, now another thing is you might have bought food for the food bank. So again, let's say in February we went and did a grocery run, and we ended up buying food for the food pantry because they were requesting it because it was really, really cold. And so let's say that I spent $75 on food as a donation. Again, I can print the receipt, or I could take a photo of the receipt and put that here, or I could simply make a list that I gave cereal, soup, um, shelf-stable milk, and pasta. So I can make a list of things like that so I remember what that particular donation was. Okay. All right. So a good way to kind of keep track of all of those things that you give to charity throughout the year. Maybe it's something that you do on a regular basis where you're donating to something on a monthly basis and you just want to record that every month, or you just want to say, let's say at the end of the year. So let's go back and say, for 12, 30, 26, I know that I gave to St. Jude's, and let's say that's a monthly, $20 a month. Okay, so that's, $240 for the year. And I can just write here monthly payments of $20. $20 on credit card. Okay, so that's something that comes out automatically. I don't need to record each one if I don't want to. I can just say that it was, a monthly donation that comes out on the credit card. Okay, all right, so you get the idea of setting up a table for your charitable contributions. I like to do this, and then as I'm doing my bills every month, I kind of go back and say, oh yeah, did I give anything this month? And I go back and add it to this particular chart that I keep for myself for the things that I donate. And then it's kind of done on a regular basis. It's part of my bill payment, and it's not an extra thing that I have to go back and do at the end of the year and worry about, did I forget something? Okay, so that's pretty cool. I wanted to, tell you guys about that. It's a way that I help keep things simplified for myself. Okay. All right, now I'm going to make a copy of this since it's kind of already laid out for me. So I'm going to just click here on the entire container and I'm going to say copy, and I'm going to go next to it and I'm going to say paste. Okay, now this particular one is not going to be charitable contributions. This one is going to say taxes paid. Now, and you can say, whatever year it is, 2025, whatever. I'm just going to leave it today for taxes paid. All right. And again, let's get rid of all of this extra stuff. It's not, well, you could leave it to whom, who you're paying them to, whether it's state or federal. Or you could go up here and write, let's do federal or state, like that. But some people have to pay town or city taxes as well. So, you can really do however you want. And then the amount there. So this last category here, I'm going to leave for notes or pictures. Again, if you want to include those receipts, those copies of the checks or, copies of your tax returns or something like that, you have a place to do that here. Okay. All right. Now, if you wanted to add an additional column in here, let's say you did different categories or something like that, you can do that. All you need to do is highlight in the table and right-click on it and go down here to Table and say Insert Column to the right, and then you have that. So this one we could call Categories, and maybe you have different categories of taxes that you want to keep track of. Okay. So I just wanted to show you how to do that. Now, because one is contributions and one is taxes, I'm going to change the color on these. So I'm going to highlight this whole thing and I'm going to go up to table shading. Now I keep table shading up here on my quick access toolbar because I use it so much. If you want to see how I store things on that quick access toolbar here at the top, I'll leave a link to that video as well. But it stores in the little can up there the current color that you've used, or then you can choose all of these other colors, okay? I'm going to make this one kind of a blue color. Still kind of goes along with our theme here of all these pretty colors. But I think that looks pretty good, okay? Now, also, because I am a business owner, I have to keep track of things that I spend for my company. Because I need to keep track of things for my business, I'm also going to make another copy of this, and I'm going to come down here. I guess I could do it on the side over here too, depending on the width of your page. And I can say paste again, and let's make that a little bit bigger. And this will be business expenses. Okay, so business expenses here. And again, the date field still works for that. I can just get rid of those dates, clean it up so that I'm ready to go. And then I can say, you know, to whom the expense was made. So maybe I needed to order something, you know, from Amazon. Let me just give you an example here. Maybe in February on the 25th of 2026, I needed to place an order to Amazon for a new microphone. So that's certainly not going to cost $300. But let's say I spent $42 on a microphone, and I can put that over here. All right. And again, if I want to, I could put the you know, the receipt for that. I could put the link to the order. I could do all kinds of things so that I remember, you know, what that was, and you know that it was used for business. Okay. All right. So that's kind of cool. I think it's really a nice place to be able to store all of this information. Let's change this color one more time. So I'm going to highlight the whole row. I'm going to go up here, and this time I think I'll use a yellow to kind of pick up some of those other colors that are there. Okay. All right. So this is a great place to have all of my charity donations, my tax payments, and all of that in one place. And as something happens and I need to add another payment, I can simply go to the end of the row and hit my enter key, and that gives me a whole nother row to add another tax payment, another charitable contribution, like that, another business expense, like that, and so on and so on. So at a glance, every month I have a quick and easy way to update all of my charitable donations, my tax payments, my business write-offs, and really anything else that I might need to keep track of for my taxes. Well, I hope you found this page useful today. I know it's a rather simplistic page, but it really, believe me, when tax time comes, it really is a lifesaver to spend that extra couple of minutes every time you pay your bills to go ahead and list anything on this page that you have spent that might be a donation or a business expense or something that might need to be deducted off of your taxes. Okay? All right. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. Leave a comment for me in the comments below and let me know if you keep this kind of information in a running record kind of way like I'm doing for yourself, and let me know how that's been working for you. Okay? All right. Well, until next time, here's hoping that you can live a more simplified and organized life through better planning. I use OneNote. Until next time, okay, bye.